hey.
It's just a pound job, and guys are tired towards that 4 minutes.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
I would be lying to you if I said I had not heard things. They're like a bad rash. You hear a lot of things. Some are true, some aren't.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Thursday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark in for Baloo tonight here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. Week 11. Boy, week 11 of the National Football League kicks off in a little over 2 hours. Got a good one tonight. Thursday night football, first place in the NFC East up for grabs. Washington and Philadelphia. Jaden Daniels versus Jalen Hurts. That should be a lot of fun. NFL Week 11 also will find your Jacksonville Jaguars as a 2-touchdown-plus underdog going to the Motor City to take on arguably the best team in the NFL, certainly the best team right now in the NFC, that being the Detroit Lions. And, of course, Trevor Lawrence has already been officially ruled out of this game as Mac Jones will get his second consecutive start. We're going to do a lot on the Jaguars and the Lions. We're going to talk a little college ball as well. Coming up here tonight in the first hour, it's all Jacksonville, all Detroit. Coming up later on in the 6 o'clock hour, Lomas Brown, former Florida Gator offensive tackle, the Great Wall of Florida. He spent many years in the National Football League. He's part of the Lions radio network. Lomas was a great player, but even a better person. He is just a good dude, man. And we're going to talk with Lomas Brown about Detroit. I'm going to ask him about Ben Johnson, certainly, the Lions offensive coordinator, and how Detroit did an exact 180 from Jacksonville. Remember, in 2021, the Lions were picking second. Jacksonville picked first. And here we are less than 3 years later, and Detroit is arguably the best team in football. Jacksonville right now is the worst team in football because they would currently have the number 1 pick in the draft. What did Detroit do right that Jacksonville did not? We'll also throw in a Billy Napier question or two to Lomas Brown as well. He comes up in about 30 minutes or so. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, my buddy Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You get him every week here on Hacker After Dark as we will just kind of give an overview of where Jacksonville is, 2-8, heading into Detroit on Sunday. So Cecil Shorts and Lomas Brown coming up in hour number 1. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, I used to be too negative about Jacksonville. Some would say to a fault. I've tried to really grow and mature now at 41 years of age. I'm no longer that 20 or 25 or 30-year-old on the radio that some of you probably remember. I'd like to think that I've grown as my role has enhanced here on sports radio over the last 2+ decades. And with that, I always shoot you straight, but there are times where I do like to sprinkle in a glimpse of hope, even when I think all hope is lost when it comes to the Jaguars and any given game they're about to play. But ladies and gentlemen of Northeast Florida, I got to tell you, I have no hope for Sunday. I have no ambition of Jacksonville going to Detroit, Michigan and winning this football game. I have no thought that we're going to be talking about a 2-touchdown-plus underdog pulling off an upset when we do the 5th quarter on Sunday evening. I have no glass half full of positivity right now for you. I don't foresee a scenario, barring a catastrophe for Detroit, injuries, turnovers, etc., where Jacksonville's even in this game. Detroit threw 5 interceptions last week. 5 on the road against Houston and still won the game. Detroit hasn't been at home in a couple of weeks. They're coming off wins at Lambeau and at Houston. Their fans are going to be all sorts of fired up. They got a wounded Jacksonville team coming in. My advice to you on Sunday is turn the game on here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM and hear the golden tones of Frank Frangie and Jeff Lageman and Tony Baselli. Listen through the network post game and listen to Campos, Searcy, and myself on the fifth quarter and enjoy yourself. All but the 3 hours that the game is actually going on, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of enjoyment there. Give me Detroit and give me Detroit big. I think they cover those 2 touchdowns and then some. I don't think Jacksonville is in this game in the fourth quarter. Perhaps I'll be wrong, but I'd be shocked if Jacksonville is in this game in the fourth quarter. I think the Jaguars will fall to 2-9. And I wonder if we will have any conversations on Monday about any changes in personnel with a bye week ahead of us. We shall see. Quickly to Florida-LSU on Saturday. Interesting game. It is LSU week, right? Man, it doesn't feel like it. One of the biggest rivals for the Gators at home in the Swamp, 3:30, national TV. Just doesn't feel like a big game. I'm trying to get there, you know. I think that's what we all do. We try to get there as sports fans. And in general, we all try to get there. It's a good thing to do. But I just haven't been able to get there with this game. I wonder where LSU will be mentally after getting boat raced at home by Alabama. Although Denmark shared with me a crazy scenario that Greg McElroy talked about on his podcast. If Georgia beats Tennessee and either Arkansas beats Texas or Auburn beats A&M, stay with me, Georgia beats Tennessee, and then Arkansas beats Texas or Auburn beats A&M, and then Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, and Missouri win out. That's a lot, but it's plausible. LSU would go to the SEC championship game in that scenario, which is wild to me after they just lost by 30 points at home to Alabama. So LSU, for the here and now, still has something to play for. We don't know the status of DJ Lagway. It's in the Swamp. I think Florida will be more competitive, certainly, than they were against Texas. But how anybody can pick Florida to beat LSU, I'm not really sure. So I think football hell in Northeast Florida will continue. Thankfully, Florida State can't lose a game if you're a Seminole fan. So they will remain at 1-9 with their bye week. But I expect Jacksonville to fall to 2-9. And I expect Florida to fall to 4-6. In what is the worst season combined for Florida State, Florida, and the Jaguars since the inception of the Jacksonville Jaguars, going all the way back to 1995. Lomas Brown, former Gator offensive tackle. He's on the Detroit Lions radio network. We'll talk with Lomas about the Lions. We'll also spend some time on his alma mater. That comes up in less than 30 minutes. Coming up next, former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. You get him every week here on Hacker After Dark. Cecil's got an awful lot of thoughts. Remember, Cecil was on 4 really bad teams here in Jacksonville. He knows what bad football looks like. It wasn't his fault, but he was on those teams. How do you know when a team has mailed it in? I'm going to flat out ask Cecil Shorts that. I think you'll be interested by his response. He joins me next. Hacker After Dark, in for Baloo, Thursday night, Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
This is Leon Washington from Andrew Jackson High School, Florida State University, and the New York Jets.
You're listening to 1010XL.
1010XL.
92.5 FM.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
It's the time of year all our customers love. At Garber Auto Mall, every 2024 must go. Take advantage of thousands in discounts on all new Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Ford. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
When it comes to selling your home, it can be stressful. Take the stress out with my friends, Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. How's this for a guarantee? Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they'll buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers, and if you've been waiting, now is a great time. to sell your home. Take Kim in Palm Coast. I needed to move closer to family ASAP, but I had to sell my Palm Coast home first. I tried and failed with another agent. So my family said, you got to call Chad and Sandy. Well, sure enough, as promised, Chad and Sandy did it. They sold my home in 3 days, above asking price. Call the local Jacksonville experts I trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gates store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Hey, folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, congratulating this week's high school scholar athlete, Lucas Elliott, senior golfer at Atlantic Coast High. Lucas is a member of the National and Spanish Honor Societies and has applied to the University of Florida and Florida State. Congratulations, Lucas.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carline from MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, just straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step up, use our promo code 1010XL, and that'll double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays, so why wait? There's a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click on the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now. Get your double deposit bonus with promo code 1010XL, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barry here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barry Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to BarryOrthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barry Orthopedics.
Jaguars fans, want to meet some of your favorite players? Coke Florida, Publix Supermarkets, and the Jags are giving you the chance. Join 1010XL at Publix, 170 Village Commons Drive, St. Augustine, Tuesday, November 19th at 5. For autographs, pictures, raffles, and more. Get off the sidelines and get to Publix to grab an ice-cold Coca-Cola, Coke Zero Sugar, or any of your favorite Coca-Cola beverages using Publix digital app. The Jaguars and Coke Florida. There's magic when we cheer together at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Mueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our first contestant, a stay-at-home gymnast from Jacksonville, Florida, it's Gwendolyn Pierce.
Thank you, Monty. I don't know who installed my air conditioner, but it hasn't had a tune-up in over 3 years. Am I cool?
Let's ask our expert judging panel. Judges? I I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You're not cool. Johnny, tell her why.
That's right. To keep your air conditioner performing at its best, you need a skilled technician to check your pressures, voltages, and air filters in the fall and the spring. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, our club members get 2 free visits a year to make sure that you are cool.
Can you tell me if my haircut is sexy?
You're better off not asking.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Lions, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL radio. The Jaguars come in at 2-8. They would have the number 1 pick in the draft if it were held today. Detroit comes in, arguably the best team in the NFL. They have the best record in the NFC. And, oh, by the way, Trevor Lawrence is not playing, so we'll be backup quarterback Mac Jones. With all that being said, let me welcome in former Jaguar Cecil Shorts. He joins us here on 1010XL on Hacker After Dark every week. Cecil, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Don't sound so excited that Mac Jones is starting again. Like, don't.
Nothing against Mac, but this is a disaster, Cecil. I mean, this is a dumpster fire, is it not?
It's tough. It's tough to watch right now. 143 yards of total offense. I'm looking at the statistics here. Travis Etienne, supposed to be your star player, 44 yards. I mean, you're not going down the field throwing. I don't know what's going on. Your defense actually played decent. Your defense actually held it down. 3 interceptions. You knew they were going to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, so you end up getting 2 interceptions because of great defensive plays in the end zone and in the play of field, and you can't convert them. You can't do nothing with them. Like, you hold the Vikings, who are 7-2 and playing high octane offense, to 12 points, and you can't win a game. It's just frustrating, man. It's just frustrating to see. I can imagine what the fans feel like. I can imagine what the players and coaches feel like. It's a tough time right now. And I don't think nobody saw this coming.
I mean, 2 weeks in a row, you go back to the Philadelphia game, the Jaguars did not get a first down until 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. And then last week, 143 yards of offense. By the way, 70 of that came on one drive. So the rest of the game, they had 73 yards of offense. I mean, Cecil, that's high school stuff, right? I mean, we see that on Friday Night Lights with teams that are overmatched by bigger high schools. Stuff like that is not supposed to happen in the National Football League.
Second half, your first possession, 4 plays. Second possession, 3 plays. Third possession, 2 plays and a fumble. Fourth possession, 2 plays and an interception. Fifth possession, 5 plays and an interception. Like, you can't win like that. Like, you're not even moving the ball. You're 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Like, you're not even doing anything on offense at all. And you're turning the ball over. And when the defense gives you opportunities, you have to take advantage. That's just what it is. So it's frustrating to see. You're 2-8. Your playoff hopes are completely gone. Now, as a player, from a player standpoint, you're playing for film. You're playing to stay on the team. You're playing for the 31 other teams, right? Hard to see, hard to say, but that's just the reality of the situation. And now Doug's job is to do his best to keep these guys together. And I'll be honest with you, when Mac is in the game, it just doesn't seem like you have, not that you don't have a chance. It just seems different. I don't know if the hope's not there or what's going on. He didn't play terrible. He did throw 2 interceptions when he was 14-22, but the offense just doesn't seem to flow. Right? It doesn't seem to flow. And I just don't know if they don't trust him, if it's the play calling, if it's what. But they got to figure out to be able to fight hard for the end of the season.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, you obviously have a great perspective, 7 years in the NFL at the wide receiver position. This level of ineptitude offensively, is it players and execution? Is it the game plan? Is it everything involved? I mean, who do you blame this on?
It's everybody involved, man. Like, it's always a team game, no matter how you put it, right? So the play calling could be better at times. I'm still in awe of how many targets that Brian Thomas gets a game. You know what I mean? And I don't care what's happening. I don't care how long he's in the game. Just give him the rock. Find ways for your playmakers to make plays. Period. Right? So I think it's a little bit of that, and it's execution. Like, at the end of the day, the coaches can only do so much. The players got to go out there and execute. They got to block. They got to be up front. They got to run the ball well. They got to make the right decisions in passing and catching, et cetera. So it's just frustrating to see, man, because this team should be better than what it is right now. You know, looking at Evan Ingram, who I like a lot, like, he should be dominating teams. Him, Brian Thomas, Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, like, you have guys in place to play really, really good football. It's just not happening right now. And I'm never one to blame one guy or a group of guys. It's the whole entire team. It's coaching, it's offense, it's everybody. They have to execute. They got to call the right plays. It's a team effort. So they all got to get better.
So I'm going to state facts. I'm not going to speculate. I'm going to state facts, and I want your opinion on this. Trevor Lawrence apparently got injured on that dive against Philadelphia, but he did finish the game. Trevor Lawrence was not officially ruled out of the Minnesota game until late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, when reports came out from Schefter and Rappaport that he would probably not play. Trevor Lawrence has already officially been ruled out Wednesday afternoon this week for a game coming up on Sunday. Is that odd to you?
Yes. I'm not sure why that's the case. But that is odd, especially with you paying him all that money. You would think he would be out there and wants to be out there. I'm not saying he doesn't. Obviously the coaches and the GM make the decisions, right? And most players, 95% of players, they want to be out there 100% of the time for their guys, no matter what's going on, right? But to hold him out and already rule him out, number one, he's either really injured or they got something else in the store. Either protecting them or whatever the case may be. And either or, if I'm a player in that team and my best chance to win is with Trevor Lawrence, I want Trevor on the field. Like, that's just what it is. If my best chance to win, especially me playing receivers, to have Trevor on the field, if Trevor can go, he needs to go. For the morale of the team, for whoever's still there, we're still fighting as a family, we're still fighting as a unit to go out there and win every game. I need my best quarterback out in the field. And if not, again, hope is gone. Like, what do you expect from a Mac Jones, right? No offense to him. So it is interesting how they're handling it. Maybe he really is hurt. I don't know. I'm not trying to say anything of that nature. It's just your best chance to win is with Trevor. You paid him all this money to play, not to sit down. And so if he's not like in a cast, got to get surgery, and he can play, he needs to be out there playing. That's why you gave him that big money. That's why he is the leader of the team. So it is interesting how they're handling that right now.
Yeah, again, I mean, Saturday morning, 16 hours, Saturday night, I guess, like 16 hours before kickoff against Minnesota is when we found out Trevor was going to miss the game. And yet he's ruled out 4 days in advance this week of the game against Detroit. Again, odd timing. Again, the Jaguars do have a bye week next week, which probably plays a factor. A couple more for former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, the team will say all the right things publicly. At a certain point, the defense is going to have enough of this ineptitude for the offense, correct? I mean, are they going to say something to those guys?
Oh, yeah, they probably already have. Human nature. They probably already have. They probably already said something during the game. Get y'all, like yelling and screaming, but also took them to the side and, sat down. Could have player meetings, whatever the case may be. But the defense is frustrated. They're doing their part. It's about the offense living up to what they're supposed to do. And that's just what it is. You have too many weapons, too many guys that I think can make plays for this team, and you're not figuring out how to use them, or they're not making the plays they need to, right? However it is, however you want to put it, it's not being done on offense. So it's definitely a frustrating thing for the defense because they think they're doing all right, which they are. You can't tell me if you come into the game saying, hey, we're going to hold this Vikings, Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones offense to 12 points, and we're not going to win the game. Like, if your defensive mind, we hold them to 12, oh, we winning. That's just what it is. So it's definitely frustrating from a defensive standpoint. Hopefully it gets better on the offensive side of the ball.
Fitting that they play Detroit this week because all the talk down here is that when Doug Peterson is ultimately let go, if that happens, if/when, I guess, all eyes to Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator up there in Detroit. And I would also argue that Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator, deserves a little bit of credit as well. Both of those guys. Do you have any opinion on either Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn as a possible replacement down here if Doug Peterson's let go?
I think Aaron Glenn is awesome, but I think Ben Johnson will have his choice of where he wants to go as a head coach. I think he will be phenomenal wherever he goes. The way he runs the offense, the way he has command of the offense, the way he uses his weapons, the way he gets the ball to everybody on that particular offense. And honestly, I think it's a good fit because if you look at what Detroit does in the backfield when it comes to Gibbs and Montgomery, you potentially have that with Travis and Tank here, right? And he knows how to get those guys the ball, how to use them correctly, and how to have fun while you're doing it. So they got a big play guy in St. Brown in Detroit. You got a big play guy here. You got a good tight end and Brian Thomas Jr., You got a good tight end with Sam Laporta. You got a good tight end here with Evan Ingram. So the comparisons on offensive side, I think, are there, right? He can really do some really good things. And sometimes a fresh start for, not a fresh start, but sometimes a new ideas, new concepts, new language, new people in charge can revitalize the team, revitalize the franchise. So I think Ben Johnson will be a great fit for the Jaguars. But any team, he'll have his choice.
And, one of my things, too, is Jared Goff. He was the afterthought in the Stafford trade, right? Goff was the former number one pick that was kind of left for dead after the Super Bowl. Ben Johnson's completely revolutionized his career. Does that sound familiar to a number one pick that he may be coaching here in Jacksonville in the near future? I mean, there are a lot of similarities.
That's a great point, RG. It's so many things that just make sense for him to come here if the job is open, right? Because it's a lot of similarities, a lot of comparison. He can probably get the most out of whoever's on that offense, and that's what you want to see. And whatever he's doing in Detroit, he's doing at an extremely high level the last 2 or 3 years. So it just makes a lot of sense in so many ways. And this could help Trevor really live up to where he's supposed to as number one pick.
Final moments, former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Short. Cecil, around the division, what are the Indianapolis Colts doing? I mean, that's nonsense what they're doing at the quarterback position, correct?
I think they don't know what they're doing. They're trying to figure it out. And I'll say this, it is tough because they're kind of in the playoff hunt. They're kind of like not all the way out of it yet. But when you keep switching out quarterbacks, it never works. Like, it never works. Like, so for me, it's frustrating to watch because I've been a part of a Texans team that had maybe 3 or 4 quarterbacks in 1 year, and they were just looking over their shoulder every single time. You're never getting the best out of any quarterback because they always fear if I make a mistake, if I don't do something right, they're going to pull me out, right? And that's just not what you do for a guy in his second year. Like, you live through it. Like, either you sit him down until he's ready, or you let him play and you just let him get better as time goes on. And that's just part of drafting a young guy. Too many NFL teams are expecting their quarterback to be a C.J. Stroud or Jaden Daniels. That's the anomaly. That just doesn't happen, right? You have to develop these guys. So the challenge is for the Colts, how do you develop Anthony Richardson? Shane Steichen, who was with Jalen Hurts and helped his progression with Philly, right? He knows how to do this, but you got to stick with him and teach him now. I'll say this too. Jalen Hurts was healthy. Jalen Hurts was able to be on the field. He's able to practice. He's able to have Nick Foles in front of him and really work hard. Or I think whoever's in front, I can't remember if it was Nick Foles or Carson Wentz. But he was able to practice and get better. Anthony Richardson hasn't been able to do that consistently, right? Missed all last season basically after maybe 2 games, 3 games. Got injured again this year. It's hard to get better when you're not playing, right? It's hard to get better when you're not on the field. So they are trying to literally figure it out as they go. But when you draft a guy number 4 overall, when you give him, when you make that investment, you need to invest highly into your coaching and really make him the best he can be. So it's going to be interesting watching what's going on there, man, for sure.
Yeah, I just think it's been wild the way Indianapolis has handled that quarterback issue, no question. The silver lining here in Jacksonville is that Tennessee's awful, too. That's the only positive thing that's happened for us here in 2024 is the Titans may actually be worse than the Jaguars. And seeing as how those two teams played twice down the stretch here, literally those 2 games may decide who has the number 1 pick in the draft. But let's end with Houston, your other former team in the AFC South. So they're going to win the division by default because everybody else is awful. But is some of the luster off the Texans after these last couple of games?
For me, yes. Absolutely. You were up 23-7. We lost 3 out of the last 4, and you were up 23-7 against the Detroit team. Your defense had 5 interceptions, and you cannot figure out a way to score a touchdown in the second half. Matter of fact, you haven't scored a touchdown in the second half since week 6. So you're struggling offensively, big time. Big time. The defense can only hold up for so long, right? As you know, RG, it takes all 3 phases of the team to play well for a team to win. Sometimes the defense will take care of the offense and have this bag, and vice versa, and special teams makes plays here and there. But when your defense gives you 5 turnovers against a 7-1 at the time, they're 8-1 now. 7-1, and Jared Goff was in the MVP conversations before last Sunday night. I'm not saying he'll win it, but he's in the conversation of how good he was playing. Right? When you have an offensive view, they were shutting down with Montgomery and Gibbs. They were shutting them down, and you can't do nothing in the second half but throw interceptions, but go 3 and out. That's just something that they have to figure out. Like, they have to, and this is the second time you got your behind embarrassed on primetime stage. It was Thursday night against the Jets, who you should have beat, and then it was the 23-7 collapse on Sunday night against the Lions. So some of that Super Bowl talk, some of that this deep playoff run talk has definitely slowed down. I do think it's a collaboration of, if I'm honest, I think it's the second year of a head coach, the second year of offense coordinator, and the second year of a quarterback, and they're learning. It's part of growing pains, right? That's just what it is. But when you make so many splashes in free agency, everybody's like, oh my gosh, they're going to be this and that. Well, the reality is they're just not that good yet. They're a good team, but they got some things to work on. So they think they brought back down to reality. This time last year and going to week 11, they were 6-4. This year they're 6-4. Like you said, they'll win the division because the division is god awful. Golly. But how good you are will yet to be determined. Now, you got Monday night against the Cowboys, who are terrible right now. You got Tennessee and Jacksonville coming up. So you could sweep them and be 9-4 or 8-5, somewhere in there. So they're still in good shape, but they have a lot to work on to be true Super Bowl contenders.
He's one of our favorites, former Jaguar, former Texan, and, of course, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, my buddy Cecil Shorts. Cecil, really appreciate it, pal. Have a great weekend. We'll talk next week.
Hey, you too, brother. Appreciate you, RG.
There you go. Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts with us here every week on XL or on a Hacker After Dark. And what's interesting about Cecil Shorts is, again, former Jaguar, former Texan as well. And look, Houston's going to win the division, but they're going to win it by default because the rest of the division is just unbelievably bad. But 6-4 is not where we thought Houston would be as recently as a month ago. No question about that. Hacker After Dark rolls on a Thursday, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Coming up next, let's go to Detroit. Former Florida Gator, the Great Wall of Florida in the 1980s, Lomas Brown, NFL offensive tackle for years and years. His prominent years were spent in Detroit. He's now a part of the Lions radio network. Let's talk Detroit Lions. Let's talk about Ben Johnson. Let's talk a little Billy Napier with former Gator great Lomas Brown. He joins me next. Thursday evening, Jacksonville, Florida, Hacker After Dark, right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Looking for a new vehicle? Take a look at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. Now's the time to save big. Choose from more than 250 new and over 1,000 used and certified pre-owned vehicles on the lot, or shop anytime at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. Hyundai has one of the top warranties in the business. Lifetime, powertrain, and 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, plus 3 years free maintenance on a new vehicle. Give them the chance to earn your business today on Atlantic Boulevard or at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jag.
Bet live with Hard Rock Bet. Real-time wagering till the very last play. Missing the kickoff doesn't mean all bets are off.
Delay a game on the guy who hasn't bet yet.
Sometimes you just know your team is going to come back. There's sportsbook for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 14th, 1964, NHL hockey legend Gordie Howe sets NHL record, becoming the all-time leading goal scorer with his 627th career goal.
Googa Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Grab your lucky spot on the couch, because traditions make Sunday easy to enjoy. Bud Light, easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024. Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Publix, Coke, and 1010XL want you to meet your favorite Jaguars. Come see the Frangie Show live Tuesday, 4 to 6 at Publix, 170 Village Commons Drive in St. Augustine. Tuesday, 4 to 6 with the Frangie Show.
Cigar smokers, Cigars International Superstore is now open at the Town Center, a massive 6,200 square foot space with over 600 cigar brands, a full-service bar, indoor and outdoor lounges with flat-screen TVs. Grand opening event this Saturday with live music, raffles, and specials. Enjoy $5 off a $25 purchase or more. Just mention code RadioXL at checkout. Don't miss the new Cigars International Superstore grand opening at the Town Center this Saturday.
Get off the ladder and put on the helmet with Gutter Helmet of North Florida. We are family owned and manufactured locally. Cleaning your gutters is a dangerous and dirty job. That's why with Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. Water goes in your gutters while trash and debris go on the ground. It won't collect like filters do. Gutter Helmet protects. Call now for 10% off and a free gutter cleaning and tune-up with your purchase of Gutter Helmet. Call 904-762-7779.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and if I know anything about the dudes that listen to 1010, they've got their own list of toys that they'd like to have for Christmas. You've got some of them in your showroom.
We've got all of them. We've got the toys for them. We got the toys for the kids. We got go-karts, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, ATVs, you name it. We've got it, and we are ready for Christmas.
So you can shop for yourself and for your loved ones. It's all happening at Cycles of Jacksonville, online or on Atlantic near Regency.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Lions come up this Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL Radio. Detroit, one of the best teams in the National Football League. The Jacksonville Jaguars, well, are not. In fact, if the NFL draft were held right now, the Jaguars would have the number 1 pick in that NFL draft. Let's get the Detroit Lions' point of view on this. Also talk a little Florida Gators with a former Gator great and a former Detroit Lion, longtime NFL veteran offensive tackle, the great Lomas Brown, joins us here on 1010XL. Lomas, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Ryan. How you doing today?
Lomas, we're good. Thank you, as always, for the time. And, boy, it's good times for your former team up there with the Detroit Lions. We know how close you still are in working with that organization. Boy, Dan Campbell and the guys, maybe the best team in the NFL. Lomas, how great has this been to watch your former team accomplish this?
Oh, man, it's great. It feels great. It's been great for the state of Michigan. It's been great for the city of Detroit. And it's been great for these fans, man, these long-suffering fans that have had to live through a lot, man. You know, as you guys kind of know down there in Jacksonville, man, it's hard being at the bottom. And teams are just getting better and better around you. And that happened to the Lions for 30-some-odd years. So it's just great for the Lions to be playing the way they are. And the good thing is that with these young players playing right now and getting this experience, this window could be open for the Lions for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And, Lomas, it's interesting. I always thought Detroit in the NFC was the Jacksonville of the AFC and vice versa. Yet you guys have turned that corner. You guys are now one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. Is it as simple as the culture that Holmes and Campbell have brought to the GM and that head coaching spot? Is that really as simple as it is?
Well, I mean, it's simple, but it's hard. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do to change your culture. And like you say, a culture that, you know, quite frankly, we go back, we're one of the original teams. So it hurts even more because we've been around a lot longer than you guys have in Jacksonville. So yeah, it's hard changing the culture, but they've come in and they've done a great job, especially Brad Holmes with hitting on these draft picks that we've gotten the last 3 years, and Dan Campbell forming that coaching staff that he's brought in. And I think that's what's underrated. Dan gets the credit, but he'll be the first to tell you, those assistant coaches, they're the ones that get just as much credit as he does, because those guys are putting in the work, the time, and they're really in there grinding with these players and keeping these players playing at a high level. So it's been great to see, and it's been a great ride so far.
Former Detroit Lions offensive tackle and, of course, former Florida Gator offensive tackle Lomas Brown with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Lomas, I want to ask you about one of those assistants that we have an eye on here in Jacksonville in just a moment. That, of course, is Ben Johnson. But quickly to Dan Campbell. I love everything about Dan Campbell. Now, I'm watching him from afar. You're around him every day. Is he as fun up close and personal as it appears that he is?
Man, he's everything that you see. And full disclosure, You know, me and Dan played together for 2 years. We were with the 2000 Giants that lost the Super Bowl to the Baltimore Ravens. So we were on that team. I was in my 15th year. He was in his second year. And I knew it was something different about the guy. He was a tight end. You knew it was something different about the guy. There's no way I would have said, oh, yeah, this guy's going to be a great coach back then in the day. But you knew it was something special, something different about him, even at a young age. And like I say, he's everything that you see, man. He's intense, but he knows how to put his arm around you and hug you when you need that. So he knows this because he's a former player. So it's easy for him to have that balance. So, yes, man, he's been a godsend. Look, this dude can walk on water around here in Michigan, man. So he is the man for us, and he's brought that grit to the team that everyone talks about here in the state of Michigan.
Obviously, Lomas, it's a very disappointing season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. No doubt that Doug Peterson down here is certainly on a hot seat. And you ask Jaguar fans, if you could replace Doug Peterson, who do you want in 2025? And Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson is pretty much at the top of every list. Tell us about Ben Johnson. And I know there was talk last year that he turned down some head coaching interviews. Do you think that he is looking for just the right opportunity, and maybe that will surface here in the 2025 offseason?
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be the right opportunity for Ben Johnson because, again, a young coach that's going to have to put together a coaching staff. But I tell you what, whoever gets him is getting a brilliant coach, a brilliant play designer. Man, they're going to be so impressed with some of the designs of the plays. And the other thing is he'll utilize anybody. Anybody's eligible to get a ball. You see Penei Sewell going in motion. You see them lining out big 300-pound tackles, lining them up out in wide receiver positions, and actually throwing the ball to them. They're just not decoys. So it's just been unbelievable to watch him work over the last 3 years here, up close and personal. And like I say, whoever gets him is going to get a damn good coach, at least play designer. Again, the leader of men, all that. Ben has the characteristics because a lot of times in practice, you see him get on players harder than you see Dan Campbell get on players. So he holds players to a high standard. And again, I think whoever gets him, whoever gets Aaron Glenn, another guy I think highly of, another guy that I think should be considered high because of what he's done with the defense around here, how he's changed that defense around. Our defense used to be, porous, especially in the secondary. But Aaron Glenn, his coaching staff, what they've done, it's been a miracle. Top 5 in stopping the run. You know, our defense is what saved us last game, and we've been relying on the defense, to be honest with you, more so than the offense the last couple of games around here. So Aaron Glenn, I think, deserves just as much credit as Ben Johnson does.
Final moments with Lomas Brown. Completely agree. I think Aaron Glenn's going to be on the top of a lot of head coaching lists as well. Lomas, I look at that Detroit team, and what I love about them, Jared Goff was kind of left for dead, right? A number 1 pick. Things weren't working out in L.A., and he comes to Detroit. He's the afterthought in the Matt Stafford trade, and Jared Goff has been sensational. Amon-Ra St. Brown was, a 4th-round pick, and he might be the best wide receiver in football, certainly in the conversation. David Montgomery, Chicago was done with him. He comes to Detroit and has a resurgence of his career. It's almost like just the perfect ingredients have all formed together in Detroit to turn into this 2024 Lions roster.
But it goes back to what you say, Ryan, grit. The culture. The culture has to be changed. And you guys could do the same thing in Jacksonville. You got your franchise quarterback there. You know, so that's the great thing. You have him there. Put the pieces around him. ETN, when he's healthy, I think he's a piece. You have to get a complimentary piece with him, but I think he's a piece. didn't know what went on with the Calvin Ridley situation and everything, but you have receivers, capable receivers around there too. So you guys, and then what you did on the defensive side. So I think what it's all about with you guys is developing a culture around there, because Jacksonville, it's not looked at as a good culture. If I'm a player looking from the outside in, if you look at what happened to Urban Meyer, because guys still think about that whole situation. Then just bringing Doug Peterson there, and now if he's gone after a couple of years again, you're looking at the stability of the organization. So if I'm an outside free agent, Jacksonville is low on the list right now because of some of the things that are surrounding them. But those are things that are fixable. Those are things that can get done when you put in the right personnel and you bring in the right people.
Of course, Lomas Brown had an unbelievable NFL career. Before Lomas went to the pros, it started here in Gainesville for the Florida Gators back in the 1980s. Lomas, I'm curious, your perspective. Obviously, your alma mater has fallen on some hard times. Billy Napier got the vote of confidence last week from A.D. Scott Strickland. From your perspective, what is your thought on Napier, the state of the program, and what do you hope happens moving forward in Gainesville?
Oh, it's hard watching my Gators. It's hard, man. It's been really hard these last few years. And, I'm looking at it from a distance. So everything I'm saying is I'm looking from the outside in. I'm just hoping that coach, he just got I'm rooting for him, but the odds are stacked against him. And a lot of things I wouldn't say is his fault, but, you got to know that SEC culture. You know it. It's a different culture in the SEC. When you come to this SEC, and I argue with people up here in the Big Ten, the Big Ten has gotten better, but the Big Ten's still not the SEC. That's just a different league. To me, that's like a semi-pro league, to be honest with you, one step away from getting to the pros if you play in the SEC. And you have to know how to coach in the SEC. You have to know how to recruit in the SEC. You have to learn how to take the pressure that you're going to get in the SEC. So, I'm hoping that coach can survive this. I'm on a couple of alumni threads. The alumni aren't happy. Getting the toughest schedule in the country, that didn't help us this year. So, and they have been looking a little better over the last few games, hanging in there with Georgia early, and stuff. So, I'm just hoping they can get it together, man, because, man, we're kind of spoiled at Florida. We're a different type of fan. We expect a lot down there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And Gator fans, Jaguar fans put Florida State in that mix. Lomas 7-22 is the combined record for Florida State, Florida, and the Jaguars this year. And there's not a lot of optimism with the Jaguars heading to Detroit this Sunday. Lomas Brown, I always say this, great football player, even a better person. Lomas, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out for us, pal. We certainly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Make Friday feel like the weekend.
We're wasting time.
That's why we give you Pre-Game Friday.
Let's do it. Come on.
We'll get you ready for the games. Brought to you by Dream Finders Homes, official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Hey, it's Linda Beaver. Whether you're new to the area or a longtime resident, you deserve the best and shouldn't settle when buying or servicing your car. At Beaver Toyota, we have built our reputation on trust. You can trust us to provide you the best price, the best selection, and the best experience. You can trust me, your neighbors can trust me, your family can trust me. We will not let you down. Come see us at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine to let our family take care of yours. Trust me, we're here to wow you.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called The Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Football fans, huddle up. Make Best Bet St. Augustine your game day headquarters. We're serving up the ultimate viewing experience with all the big games on our massive screens, mouth-watering food specials till 2 a.m., drink deals to keep your spirits high, and we're open till 4 in the morning for post-game celebrations. Ante up for your team and score big at Best Bet St. Augustine this football season. For the play-by-play on our game day specials, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet St. Augustine, where every fan leaves a champion.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees, and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I just cannot say enough good things about my friends at Pella Windows and Doors. They have the highest quality products, the strongest limited warranties in the industry, and they just flat out look amazing. But don't just take my word for it. Consumer Reports still has Pella rated #1 in all 3 major window categories, so why not go with the best? Call them today or visit the Pella showroom, and be sure to ask about the latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows. That's Pella Windows and Doors on Phillips Highway, and tell them Mike sent you.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. If you're going to buy an engagement ring, how much should you spend?
Frank, that's a question we hear a lot, and the guideline most often used is the equivalent of 2 months' salary. But I'll say this, the price you pay for a diamond is directly related to its beauty. If you want a big, cheap diamond, I'll guarantee you it's poor quality, and that's not what we carry at Underwoods. If you want a diamond of fine quality, cut to the right specifications for maximum beauty, not maximum weight, that's the kind of diamond we have at Underwoods. You see, when somebody's been married for a long time, they don't always remember what they paid for their engagement ring. They probably remember the sacrifice they made to pay for it. And when you consider that a diamond engagement ring will be worn every day for the rest of her life, most people will agree that a really fine quality diamond ought to be considered. That's what we specialize in at Underwoods and have since 1928.
That's Underwoods in San Marco, in Avondale, the shops of Ponte Vedra, Underwood Jewelers.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Jags fans, looking for the perfect activity around the holidays? We've got you covered with the inaugural Teal Trot 5K. The race takes place outside Everbank Stadium, Saturday, December 21st. We can't wait to see you there. Your registration includes the 5K, a throwback Jaguars headband, and a ticket to the December 29th game against the Titans. Visit Jaguars.com/Teal Trot to sign up today.
Jaguars fans, want to meet some of your favorite players? Coke Florida, Publix Supermarkets, and the Jags are giving you the chance. Join 1010XL at Publix, 170 Village Commons Drive, St. Augustine, Tuesday, November 19th at 5. For autographs, pictures, raffles, and more. Get off the sidelines and get to Publix to grab an ice-cold Coca-Cola, Coke Zero Sugar, or any of your favorite Coca-Cola beverages using Publix digital app. The Jaguars and Coke Florida. There's magic when we cheer together at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Want to show your kids something really cool? Take them by the Kuhn Flowers window display on Beach Boulevard. 1010XL's RJ Saunders here, and there's no better way to introduce your kids to Kuhn Flowers. For over 75 years, Kuhn Flowers.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Hacker After Dark in for Blue, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. We are at halftime. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you up till 8 o'clock. Coming up towards the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour, Logan Robinson of Knoll Game Day. That's the Sports Illustrated website covering Florida State. Florida State's on a bye week, but obviously there are things to discuss. 1-9 is certainly one of them. The fact that Mike Norvell earlier this week fired both his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator, and it fired his wide receiver coach just for good measure. So we will talk about all of that with Logan Robinson of Knoll Game Day. That comes up towards the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour. Coming up in less than 10 minutes, back into the Jaguars and the Lions. JP Acosta of SB Nation joins me to preview Jacksonville and Detroit. Again, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL Sunday afternoon. Remember, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Lions go final, myself, the Pro Bowler Leon Searcy, and the head coach Dave Campo will have the fifth quarter for you from Hurricane Grill and Wings out in Fleming Island, I believe is our location for this Sunday's fifth quarter. So I'm certainly looking forward to that. JP Acosta, SB Nation, talking Jags, talking Lions. We'll mix in a little AFC South as well. That's next as we roll on a Thursday evening here in Jacksonville, Florida. Hacker After Dark in for Blue on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Get game day going with news and notes, injury updates, and everything you need to know to enjoy the game on the Terminix Kickoff Show.
Go, go, go!
5 hours before kickoff. Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. You know, I got to be the guest speaker at Awaken 180's employee town hall last week, and that was a great honor. It's a quarterly event, so they have 4 guest speakers a year. Obviously, I was nominated to be one of them because I've lost over 100 pounds on this program. I always tell you, life-changing, life-saving, and I don't say that lightly. I've gone from 317 pounds in February to 207 pounds today, 110 pounds down. If you need to lose 100 pounds, if you need to lose 20 pounds, any point in between, look, guys, I could tell you anything. Just look at me. Look at the video. Look at the photos. Look at the difference between February and November. It's all thanks to Awaken180weightloss.com, Awaken180weightloss.com. I'm a success story. You could be the next at Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Integrity, persistence, and standing up for victims. It's what you want in a personal injury case and what my friend and lawyer Glenn Cohen brings to every case for over 40 years. Call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen & Sullivan.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Free pizza. Lauren Brooks here. Royal Pest Control says thanks for your business. And they're offering a free slice of Tony D's Pizza while supplies last this Friday noon to 2 as we broadcast live at Tony D's, corner of Bay Meadows and 295.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
Hey, Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more, and please drink responsibly.
This is David with Royal Pest Services. Join us Friday, November 15th from 12 to 2 with Helmets and Heels at Tony D's for our customer appreciation.
And there'll be free slices for you guys.
Tony, you've been down here long enough. It's y'all.
At what temperature is Fahrenheit equal to Celsius?
Southern Oak Insurance knows that you want to save money on your homeowner's insurance. So why not try some old-fashioned common sense? Ask your Southern Oak agent about our roof replacement schedule. It will save you money.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
At 40 degrees below zero, the temperature is the same in Fahrenheit and Celsius. Why? It takes too long to explain.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Prosser here. I've been telling you for years about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Football season finally upon us. Imagine watching your favorite team in your new Lifetime man cave, family hangout, or Lifetime's version of a she shed. And now Lifetime is expanding their replacement window division. Make your home energy efficient with their Energy Star rated windows. Enclosures, flooring, and windows to fit any and all budgets. Visit the showroom just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let Lifetime be your home team.
Jaguars fans, want to meet some of your favorite players? Coke Florida, Publix Supermarkets, and the Jags are giving you the chance. Join 1010XL at Publix, 170 Village Commons Drive, St. Augustine, Tuesday, November 19th at 5. For autographs, pictures, raffles, and more. Get off the sidelines and get to Publix to grab an ice-cold Coca-Cola, Coke Zero Sugar, or any of your favorite Coca-Cola beverages using Publix digital app. The Jaguars and Coke Florida. There's magic when we cheer together at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Slow, and I want to talk to you today about having a grateful spirit. As we journey in life, it's so easy to take things for granted. But I want to encourage you to never get tired of thanking God for your blessings. Take time also to thank the people in your life who have and are helping you to become the person you are today. Don't go through life complaining. Go through life praising.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Lions, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, we'll hear the game right here on 1010XL Radio. Detroit, one of the best teams in the NFL, maybe the best right now, whereas Jacksonville would have the number 1 pick in the draft if it were held today. That's the reality of the situation. At the Jaguars being 2-8, let's talk about what happened and what, if anything, can be done about it moving forward. JP Acosta, SB Nation. We always love having him on to talk Jaguars with us here on 1010XL. JP, how are you?
I'm doing great. Trying not to get too irrationally angry about the Jaguars lost Sunday.
You know, and really, you could say last Sunday or the Sunday before or the Sunday before that. They all just kind of run together at this point. JP, the last time me and you talked on air was a little over a month ago, and at that point, look, the thought was maybe Jacksonville could turn it around, maybe a slow start, but they could find their way. There's no finding a way out of this. They're awful. They're maybe the most disappointing team in football this side of the Dallas Cowboys. And again, if the draft were right now, they would have the number 1 pick, man. I mean, in your opinion, what happened here this year?
So it's really interesting that's what happened, because I think it's just so much – there's so many different factors that went in here. Of course, we can talk about what happened to end the season last season, but I feel like all of that negativity has come over to 2024 and just compounded. From the start, it feels like this offense doesn't have any trust in each other. It feels like the play callers, the situational play calling has been bad. The usage has been bad. I think Brian Thomas only had 2 catches on Sunday. And it's just been so weird watching them try and run an NFL offense because it feels so stale. It feels so archaic. This offense hasn't evolved. It has been so... This is our way of doing it, our way or the highway. You have to line up and stop it. Instead of actually forcing the issue, changing things about this offense, try and help the other players out on the team. Defensively, I feel like Sunday was the perfect example of what this defense can be, but they've dealt with a lot of injuries and just overall too far inconsistent. They've been far too inconsistent when it comes to defending the pass, especially up the middle of the defense with the linebackers. It's just been a really inconsistent season for the Jaguars, and that's what's led to the frustration because the team has some talent. It's just the coaching has made them a lot worse than they actually are.
JP Acosta of SB Nation. JP, who do you blame more, Trent Baalke, Doug Peterson, or is it equal measures of both?
I think it has to be equal measures of both. I think Trent Baalke has failed in assembling a roster that's competent enough to win football games. I think the depth of this team is very poor. And when you combine that with stars such as, you know, your star receiver is rookie Brian Thomas, and outside of that it is tight end Evan Ingram, you know, and Christian Kirk's out for the season. Gabe Davis has been next to nothing this season. I think he has failed in building a competent roster. But Doug Peterson and his, I call it pride. I think he is so used to it's my way. It is his offense. He is going to run exactly what worked in 2017, but it doesn't work now. I would say they share equal blame, but the development of this team, there hasn't really been anybody who was developed into a good player in this regime, and I think that falls more on Doug Peterson.
Well, and the interesting thing to me, again, JP Acosta of SB Nation here with us. JP, I've been wrong about this team in the past. I've done this long enough to freely admit that I've been wrong, but I've never been this wrong, right? I didn't think they were going to win the Super Bowl, but I thought this was a 9-10 win, maybe if things got lucky, an 11-win team. By no stretch of the imagination did I think after back-to-back 9-8 seasons they would regress this badly. And I think that's the vibe here in Jacksonville. And I see you on social media interacting with Jaguar fans. I mean, people here are just stunned. And moreover, I get the vibe that they're stunned inside that building as to how bad things have gotten this year.
I think it looks like they're stunned about how this season has gone. It feels like everybody's putting blame on each other. They're trying to find a scapegoat for all of this. You know, I feel like there's been sort of a rift between Peterson and Balky in terms of who takes the blame here, whose fault is it that this team is as bad as it is when there's really a combination of both. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I thought this team could win the division. I thought they could bounce back from a poor ending to the season last year. But it's just fallen apart in a way that I could not have imagined. And again, it feels a lot like Doug Peterson's end of his tenure with the Eagles.
And that gets me to the hot seat talk. Certainly there's a lot surrounding Balky, a lot surrounding Peterson. Now, Shad Khan has proven in the past that he is one of the more patient owners in the league. We'll see what happens here. But the interesting thing, at least for this Sunday, is if Peterson is shown the door, everybody's talking about Ben Johnson, right? Well, the Jaguar fan base, you're going to get an up-close look at Ben Johnson on Sunday, the offensive coordinator of Detroit. JP, if it's at the end of Peterson's tenure, is Ben Johnson obviously the first call you would make if you're Shad Khan?
Absolutely. I think both coordinators in Detroit, Ben Johnson and defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, are the first two calls I make. But Ben Johnson, I think he has become kind of the focal, he has become the shining star of the Lions franchise, especially from their coaching staff. The way he builds that offense, the way he can kind of, when the Lions are on, they run through that offensive line that they have built. But I really do like what Ben Johnson runs. I like how he sequences play calling. I like how Aaron Glenn has developed the players on that defense into a consistently good unit. But yeah, I think if Shad Khan does end up firing Doug Peterson, I think the two coordinators in Detroit are the first two people he should call.
It's interesting you mentioned Aaron Glenn because, look, everybody wanted the hot, up-and-coming young offensive coordinator, right? And that's still pretty prevalent. But you see Dan Quinn in Washington. You see DeMeco Ryans in Houston. Raheem Morris, to an extent, in Atlanta, although it didn't go well last week against New Orleans. But the defensive coordinators, the defensive guys, are kind of getting back in the mix for some of these head coach openings. And I like the Aaron Glenn idea a lot. I know a lot of people love Minter as well, the DC out with Harbaugh with the Chargers. I don't know how that would be received by the fan base here because the idea with Trevor Lawrence is you want to pair him with a coordinator of up-and-coming offense. But I agree. I think a defensive guy, you can't overlook them at this point.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to Aaron Glenn, one of the things that stands out about how that defense has constantly improved. They have consistently gotten better. The players have developed into quality talent. Thinking about guys like Aleem McNeil, defensive tackle, who just got an extension from Detroit, played really well this season. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, he came into the league very good and has turned into a defensive player of the year candidate. Getting quality play from Jack Campbell, who was a linebacker picked in the first round. Nobody had a lot of faith in, but now he's turned into a really quality player on that defense. You think about some of the growth that the secondary has shown in terms of Curdy Joseph and Brian Branch being incredible. And that's the kind of stuff that you really want to see from a potential head coaching hire, the development of the players. You know, these guys are constantly getting better. They have constantly improved into a point where the Lions defense is, I'd say, a really good unit. I think they have their moments because they play so much man coverage with so many young DBs. But I think Glenn would be a really, really smart choice. I do like the idea of Jesse Minter as head coach. I love what he's done in terms of defensive development in Los Angeles. I might think it's a year too early, but if you know your guy, you might as well go get him now.
Couple of more for JP Acosta of SB Nation. Final Jaguar thought, JP, and I want to branch out to how awful the AFC South is as we wrap up. For you personally, more questions about Trevor after this season than what you had coming into the year? What's been your thought on him?
I think my thought on him has remained the same in terms of he's an incredibly talented player who has had to do so much to keep this offense just at a functional capability. You know, I think some of his flaws are he tries to do far too much in this offense, and that leads to the turnovers, the interceptions. But this offense, as we saw with Mac Jones in it, is barely functional without him at quarterback. You know, I think he is a very good player, and I think that the next guy that comes in, whether it's Doug Peterson firing Press Taylor and bringing in a new guy be a coordinator or a completely new staff. They have to make the game a little easier for Lawrence. They have to help him. They have to help take some of the load off of his shoulders a little bit. And I think that's something that the Jaguars have struggled with since Lawrence came into the league. And I think that is kind of taking an effect on him because you saw at some points during the season, he is kind of those scars of constantly being hit and constantly throwing to guys who are dropping passes. It kind of took a hit this season, but I still think he's an incredibly talented player who, if the Jaguars do end up firing Doug Peterson, could be a really big chip for whatever prospective head coach decides to come to Jacksonville.
JP, as we begin to wrap up, the AFC South coming into the 2023 season was thought to be the worst in football, but then Jacksonville, Indy, and the Texans all won 9 games. And you're thinking, all right, wow, it'd be kind of a surprise there. And leading up to 2024, people thought the South was very much improved. And it has just plummeted and crashed back down to planet Earth. The Jaguars are awful. If there is any silver lining here in Jacksonville, it's that the Titans are equally as awful. Indianapolis has benched their top 5 quarterback, and they're not winning any games with Joe Flacco now either. And Houston's going to win the division by default, but they're 6-4 and probably a disappointment for what they thought coming into the year. So what a just fall from grace the South has had in 1 year.
Yeah, I think it's been so weird what's happened to the AFC South this season. But I think the biggest thing is this division is incredibly young. You know, in Tennessee, you have a second-year quarterback, first-year head coach. That's going to be a mixture for some weird stuff going on, for some bad play. The Jaguars are dysfunctional. We have said long before this Jaguars franchise is dysfunctional. But this division is so young. Shane Steichen is in the early portion of his head coaching career. Anthony Richardson, like you said, is in his second year. He only played like 11 games of an NFL season so far. And then even in Houston, you're a second-year head coach with a second-year quarterback, second-year play caller. These things are going to happen. I think I got super excited about the AFC South. I said before the season they could get 3 teams into the playoffs. But what we're seeing is the youth of the division have to start taking some of their lumps. You know, like it's not going to immediately go instant success. You kind of learn a little bit. And I think that's where the AFC South is at this point.
Final question. We just passed the halfway point. A lot of people had Kansas City and Detroit in the Super Bowl coming into the year. That appears to be accurate right now, right? I mean, Kansas City and Detroit, do you see any issues saying they're clearly the 2 best teams in the NFL right now?
I think they are the 2 best teams in the NFL right now, but I would not be surprised if come playoff time, Baltimore or Buffalo gives Kansas City a run for their money. I think both the Bills and Ravens are incredibly run. They have 2 incredible quarterbacks, the top 2 in MVP voting at this point in the season. And then the Ravens also have Derrick Henry, who has haunted my dreams as a Jaguars fan and an NFL writer since he was in Tennessee. But I would say at this point, Kansas City is going to find a way. They always find a way. It feels like we're watching the new-gen Patriots in a way, where, like, no matter what happens, those guys are going to end up in the Super Bowl.
JP Acosta of SB Nation. JP, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, man, what you have coming out on SB Nation as we head into Week 11 of the NFL season.
Of course, you can always find Establish the Fun, which is my column I write every week, every Wednesday. It is some of the things I just find that are pretty cool going on in the NFL right now, some things that I think are interesting, and stuff you should be looking out for when you watch. So look out for Establish the Fun. I got some pretty cool stuff regarding the NFL draft and a mock draft on Monday where I sent Travis Hunter to the Jaguars first overall. And outside of that, just follow me, see where I'm going, see what I'm doing.
JP, I know you're busy, man. Appreciate the time. We'll do it again soon, pal.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
playoff teams limit their weaknesses. Offense, defense, and special teams all contribute.
All three phases come into play.
Listen for the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
Sometimes special teams can be fun.
On 1010XL.
Blue for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company is Fleming Island's first and only craft brewery, founded by the co-founder and brewmaster of Wicked Barley. Barley and Pie serves up local brews made right in your backyard. Hungry? Dive into their sourdough Neapolitan pizza, made fresh in-house every day. Find your new go-to spot in Fleming Island at Barley and Pie Brewing Company.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1 mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at McKenzie'sRun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. McKenzie'sRun.org.
We could call them helmets and cleats, but they don't wear cleats.
Those shoes are hot.
Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
From the First Coast Lighting Studios at 1010XL.
Weekdays noon to 2.
You think you could join us?
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
Hacker here, and last Saturday was awesome. Thanks to everyone who came out to my Countdown to 100 Awaken 180 watch party. The wings were flying, beers were being thrown down, and this guy didn't gain a pound back. I had reached my goal of 100 pounds and took a couple of weeks off. What did I find during my weigh-in last week? I actually lost more weight, officially down 110 pounds now. Had a birthday trip, watch party, celebrations, you name it, and I'm down 110 pounds. I weigh now 207. Yeah, 207 when I was close to 320 just 8 months ago. With Awaken 180, I've got the ultimate life back. Losing weight while living it up. It's like cheating the system, but it's all legit. If you're ready to get your health back, join the Awaken 180 movement. Call 844-346-1800 or hit up awaken180weightloss.com. This isn't a diet. It's leveling up your life. Hacker out, because I'm keeping it real and light.
Remember your first great cigar? Honestly, neither do we. But here's your chance to make a new memory with an extraordinary A.J. Fernandez cigar. Join us at Tobacco Cove, 3849 Bay Meadows Road on November 16th from 1 to 4 p.m. for our A.J. Fernandez cigar event. Enjoy food, prizes, and incredible deals on A.J. Fernandez cigars. Come for the cigars, stay for the experience at Tobacco Cove, 3849 Bay Meadows Road.
Are you a member of the Ran Out of Room Club? Maybe it's a boat, RV, or cars. Maybe it's office space. A luxury storage unit at the Shed is your solution. Opening soon in Atlanta Beach. AC and plumbing available and spots filling fast. Don't join the Ran Out of Time Club. Go to theshedjacks.com.
Come on, admit it. Almost everyone you know seems to be playing pickleball now, right? So whether you just want to learn how to play or you're ready to show off your elite pickleball skills, the Y is the place for you. Visit our brand new McGuire Family Pickleball Center at the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach. 5 top quality outdoor courts and 3 amazing indoor courts where you can learn about dinks, dill ball, falafel, the kitchen, and more pickleball slang at the Y.
This is Corona Premier. It's the light beer you didn't know was a light beer. Until right. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now, Corona Premier, an unexpectedly light beer.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Jeff Lagerman here. Now that football season is here, make sure your ride can get to that tailgate or away game safely and dependably. You can trust the ASE certified professionals at any of the 27 independently owned Napa Auto Care Centers and the quality Napa parts they use. Napa Auto Care Centers can handle everything: oil changes, air conditioning, brakes, engines, transmissions, and more. Napa Auto Care offers a nationwide 24-month, 24,000-mile peace of mind warranty on most repairs. Find a Napa Auto Care Center near you. JacksNapaAutoCareGroup.com.
David Ammon here with Zero Res.
You know, Dad, I just love this time of year. It cools down, the holidays are coming on, and college football is a blast.
One of the things that I'm grateful for is our good customers. I have loved working for the good people of Jacksonville and want to say thank you.
Folks, the schedule is filling up fast. Book today and Zero Res will clean your carpets for only $49 per room. Plus, they'll give you 25% off your tile cleaning.
Zero Res.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Jaguars fans, want to meet some of your favorite players? Coke Florida, Publix Supermarkets, and the Jags are giving you the chance. Join 1010XL at Publix, 170 Village Commons Drive, St. Augustine, Tuesday, November 19th at 5. For autographs, pictures, raffles, and more. Get off the sidelines and get to Publix to grab an ice-cold Coca-Cola, Coke Zero Sugar, or any of your favorite Coca-Cola beverages using Publix digital app. The Jaguars and Coke Florida. There's magic when we cheer together at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
I-9 Sports is getting geared up for more fun for kids all over the First Coast with winter and spring registration now open. Kids ages 3 to 17 can get in the gym or on the field with I-9 Sports, covering Clay, Duval, and St. John's, and I-9 introducing all-girls volleyball and flag at Duval Charter and all-girls flag at Nocatee, plus flag, soccer, t-ball, and basketball for boys and girls too. So don't miss out. Registration open now for winter and spring at i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Well, Florida State coming off a 52-3 loss to Notre Dame. Just outright embarrassing, quite frankly. 1-9. They have 2 games to go. They have an interesting bye week this week. And the axe has fallen in Tallahassee as head coach Mike Norvell has relieved both the offensive and defensive coordinator as well as the wide receiver coach of their duties. Interesting times at Doak Campbell Stadium, no question about it. One of our guys when it comes to Florida State football is Logan Robinson. He is the owner and the founder of Knoll Game Day, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Logan, how are you, man?
Doing good. Kind of had a feeling this would be coming soon with Florida State's bye week, like you said. And here we are, Florida State, Mike Norvell having to make some moves, some important ones in order to keep probably the fans from rioting and also to try to put them in seats in 2025. So some big moves made on a Sunday evening from the administration and Mike Norvell.
Alex Atkins, the offensive coordinator, gone. Adam Fuller, the defensive coordinator, gone. And Ron Dugans, the wide receiver coach, gone. Like you said, Mike Norvell had to do something. How much blame do you think those guys should get? Did they deserve to lose their jobs?
Well, it's always a rough situation to have people, get fired from their jobs. And for a lot of these, I say coordinators and assistants, talking about Ron Dugans, their wide receivers coach, this was bound to happen. You look at the offensive line and the development there from Alex Atkins. Yes, he's listed as the offensive coordinator, but still this was Mike Norvell play calls and such. But at the end of the day, the offensive line couldn't protect the soul back there at quarterback. That's why we haven't really been able to see the true self of Brock Glenn nor Luke Romanhock, the true freshman. offensive line development. Yes, he can recruit. He can recruit very well, but at the end of the day, recruiting isn't going to save your job. What you put out there on the product will. And day in and day out, year by year, actually, I would say the last 3 years, this offensive line has gotten worse and worse. There's a player named Jordan Travis and another player named Trey Benson who are in the NFL that saved Alex Atkins' job last year, in my opinion. It's just awful unit on the offensive line. And you can go over to the wide receiver room. The drop rate for Florida State, one of the worst, and it has continued to be one of the worst in college football under Ron Dugans. Like I just mentioned there, Jordan Travis and Trey Benson saving Alex Atkins' job. You can go back and look at Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman saving Ron Dugans' job for a while. And then Adam Fuller, third down and Fuller. I think all FSU fans have gotten used to saying that whenever Florida State is facing a 3rd and 13, a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5, doesn't matter. Likely Florida State is going to give up a first down there, and and I think it goes also to a mix of some of these veteran guys, some of your expected stars on this defensive side of the ball was supposed to step up in 2024, and it just hasn't been the case. And that one was maybe more if we were going to pick one out of the three that maybe was more surprising a tad bit, I would lean on the Adam Fuller one there, just because going back to his relationship with Mike Norvell and a few other things.
Logan Robinson, the owner and the founder of Noel Game Day, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville, as coaching changes already happening over there in Tallahassee for Florida State. Logan, they got to have coaches to coach the last 2 games, right? I guess my question is, you're going to have to bring in a new OC, a new DC, and they're likely going to want their guys on their staffs. So, I mean, are we going to see a lot more after the season ends in a couple of weeks, a lot more departures?
We will likely see that. There is going to be some more moves I'm expecting, not just on field, but also to off the field and analysts. I think for Florida State, what Mike Norvell's big decision is going to have to be now is if he wants to bring in a play caller, like you were just mentioning there. If he's going to want to bring in a true offensive coordinator to be alongside with Mike Norvell there, he is going to want to bring in his people with him, like a wide receivers coach, a quarterbacks coach, etc. So that's going to be a big decision for Mike to make, is if he wants to give up those play calling duties. And I think on our show, we all have agreed that that's something that he most certainly needs to go in and relieve his duties. At least there's got to be some kind of move made on that end. I think there has been throughout his career, at least at Florida State, some questionable things of some play calls and some of these game plans that he's put together, and the competitive and the competent offense that Florida State has put out there with the same kind of schemes. You got the screen plays, you got your personnel in certain areas that have been very questionable, and you keep putting personnel out there that have not performed like they should and execute plays. So there needs to be a conversation of if Mike Norvell is going to relieve play calling duties. And he talked to the media a couple weeks ago in a press conference saying that he would be open to discussing that in order to get the program back to where it needs to be. So he has an open mind to it.
Logan, will this calm the waters for Florida State fans? I mean, they want blood, right? At 1-9, it's the worst season in 50-plus years for Florida State football. But now the Florida State fans have seen Norvell has done something, dismissing the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. Will this at least calm the waters right now among the fan base?
I think it gives him some breathing room. I think it allows for him to take a deep breath now after he's been I was telling our staff, I felt like there was going to be a riot if Florida State doesn't make a staff move to whoever amount of fans are going to be at that Charleston Southern game. There might be 20, 25 of them, but still nonetheless, I think this fan base was looking for a move. I think they were looking for a move weeks and weeks ago. And now it's come to fruition, but it's not going to please everybody because there is still some staff members on this team that I think are expected, that we're expecting for this administration to move on from. And it just gives a little bit of breathing room. And also, too, it should jumpstart you now to having those conversations on the recruiting trail. I do believe that Mike and Michael Alford, Florida State's athletic director, they have put together a game plan moving forward. It's tough to do with the college football season still going on. You got the college football playoff as well, so still got a long season ahead. But this goes ahead and jumpstarts you and gets you prepared on the recruiting trail, because Florida State, like I was saying earlier, Alex Atkins, great recruiter in a whole lot of different aspects, not even just on the offensive line. Big relationships guy, and he has a strong class of offensive linemen that were, but still are at this hour at 9:30 the next day, still committed to Florida State. There's a lot of work to do to keep those relationships and try to keep them in the fold. And I would imagine this game plan is being distributed to a lot of these recruits that are still committed, if not some that are on their radius and some big targets.
Couple of more for Logan Robinson, the owner and the founder of Knoll Game Day. Logan, they've said all the right things. The team had battled hard to a certain point. Clemson stands out. Miami stands out. But the last two games has been pathetic. 35-11 to North Carolina, 52-3. That, just saying that is just wild to me, against Notre Dame. My Wolfson high school math will tell me that's 87-14. In the last two losses to North Carolina and to Notre Dame. I think it's a fair question. Has this team quit in 2024?
I was worried about it after the Miami game, because at that point I was like, well, what is there worth fighting for? Because you lost your bowl contention if you were going to have a chance, which I know a lot of us didn't, but you lost to your in-state rival, the one that you most likely hate the most, and what else is there to fight for? And I think we saw some of that during that North Carolina game, certainly in the second half on the defensive side of the ball. It's hard to really judge the offensive side because it's just god-awful, putrid, disgusting, horrid. Every kind of way you could describe something being bad, that's how that offense is anyways. But you definitely saw on the defensive side of the ball, definitely when you see, we're kind of used to a little bit now, some of these veterans just kind of lacking in plays and lollygagging a little bit, but it started spreading over to some of the younger players who have shown some life and some shines and some promise. And that's something that you don't want to have get infected into your younger units. And that's what I think it starts adding up to where, why am I out here? What am I doing? Definitely if you don't believe in your coaching staff, which, depends on who you talk to, but I think there's definitely been some question marks from inside that locker room about some of the coaching staff that was on the staff and maybe still is, and it starts adding up to why am I out here playing? And that's what sucks, because it is still Florida State. You play for that spear on your helmet, and you play for your brothers, and you have pride. But the product that Florida State, Mike Norvell, has not been able to put up any points as well, I'm sure just completely tears up the defense's drives, no pun intended, and both ways. There's no kind of eagerness to make plays. I think also too, if you look on Adam Fuller and the way that he called defenses, just allowing things to come to them rather than going after it. They don't have a playmaker there, and it also went into recruiting too, hurting this team from the defensive side of the ball. So there's definitely signs of some quit, and that's something that you hate to see.
Well, again, as we begin to wrap up, they got an off week, and then they have back-to-back home games to close out the year. That Charleston Southern game, they're 1-9 in 1AA football. Florida State's 1-9 in 1A football. I mean, combined records right now of 2-18. I don't have any idea what that crowd's going to be like, but that could be one of the worst crowds in the history of Florida State football. And then a week later, you got Florida coming in, and Florida's not much better than Florida State. Bottom line is they have two winnable games, right? Two bad teams are coming into Tallahassee. Is that the realistic goal for Florida State, to build a little, confidence going into the offseason and winning these two home games to end the year?
I'm interested to see, to me, yes, you got Charleston Southern. That's a game that you have to win. That's, I think, the bigger conversation to me. Yes, the administration, Mike Norvell, made moves to move on from those two coordinators and Ron Diggins, but let's, crazy things. I don't predict Florida State to lose this game, but if they lose this game, there's a conversation where you got to find that $60+ million for Mike Norvell on the buyout, because that's a firing offense. There's been plenty of firing offenses this year. There has been some too in the past, but you're just not going to do that. You got to allow the climb for this program to come back. But you lose to Charleston Southern, we're going to have a true conversation and need to keep a lookout on a statement from Michael Alford this time, not Mike Norvell. I'm moving on from staff members, but to me, I think the Florida game, that's another loss for Florida State. Florida will fight. They're going to play hard. I think they see signs of where Florida can go. They weren't expected to have a big season this year. What a schedule they've had, and DJ Lagway getting hurt. I think they're going to fight. They're going to play hard, and I think they will care more about the rivalry right now than Florida State. But we'll also see too, moving on from some of these staff members, could this team see, a little bit of fight left in those two games, like you just said there, Ryan? Could they find a little bit of juice and try to build off of what kind of whatever momentum they can get? But it's not like the NFL. It's not like where you fire offensive coordinator or you fire a head coach and you've got a top tier, assistant on your staff. These are going to be some younger guys usually in these roles that don't have a whole ton of experience as well, filling in these little spots like the wide receiver position. So not expecting it to be a whole game changer here in the last 2 weeks, but interested to see if there's going to be any kind of drive and pride and fight to finish off these last two games. And there's a lot of guys that need to find some health too as well. So this bye week comes in at a good time, Ryan.
Logan, final question. We got about 60 seconds. Can this be fixed in one offseason? I mean, Alabama's lurking in September, right? I mean, that's where Florida State's going to open with the Crimson Tide in 2025. Can all of these problems be fixed in one offseason?
To me, the odds lean no. It's going to be very, very difficult. I think if you look back in history and what college football coaches have been able to do in these situations, it usually doesn't really work out. Norvell has dug himself into a very deep hole, and he's put himself in this position. He's to blame, and it just is what it is. There has to be some dramatic moves in the way that they strategically make these hires, because not only is you're turning the program back, like you just said, you're facing Alabama to kick off your 2025 season, but a 6-6 season next year ain't going to cut it. That's just not going to work at Florida State. You got to reach a 9-win minimum, in my opinion, or it's long gone. And, Florida State's back on the coaching market, because, a 6-6 season, that ain't going to work. Just reaching a bowl game, that doesn't work at Florida State, and there is not room for another climb, Ryan. So it's going to be very tough, but I'm the leaning odds that it's, unless there's some crazy hire, if he's able to grab Cliff Kingsbury from the Washington Commanders, who have had a great season there with Jaden Daniels, it's not going to be an easy task for Mike Norvell.
Logan, tell the Florida State fans here in Jacksonville about Noel Game Day and what they can expect when they head on over to the website.
We'll be live tomorrow on our YouTube at Noel Game Day there, discussing all of these staff changes. We've got tons of articles going out on our Sports Illustrated site, noelgameday.com. So tons of content there, reacting to the news, and also to looking into the coaching market for all these positions that have been let go so far, and what we expect to see handful more as well as we move on through the rest of these next 3 weeks.
Logan Robinson, the owner and the founder of Noel Game Day. Logan, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time. We'll talk again soon, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Ryan.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
And thank you to Logan Robinson, the owner and founder of Noel Game Day, for joining us here tonight on Hacker After Dark. Interesting week for Florida State, as they fired their offensive coordinator, fired their defensive coordinator, their wide receiver coach as well, and they just lost a big-time commitment from Mandarin quarterback Tramel Jones. That's what happens, man, at 1-9, and one of the biggest disappointments in college football in decades. I mean, how many preseason top 10s go 1-9 in their first 10 games? I mean, it is just absolutely wild what has happened in Tallahassee this year. They, of course, have an off week tomorrow, or I guess Saturday, and then they will have 2 games at home to round it out. Charleston Southern, who's horrific, by the way. Florida State will win that game, and then the final one against the Gators over there at Doak Campbell Stadium. So we talked a lot about that. We spent a lot of time on the NFL, obviously, with the Jaguars heading up to Detroit to play the Lions on Sunday. Also spent some time on the Florida Gators getting ready for their game Saturday, 3:30 against the LSU Tigers. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a very busy Thursday night edition here of Hacker After Dark. And for Blue, appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Now, tomorrow night, Hacker After Dark will turn into the Friday Night Lights postgame. It is round 1 of the FHSAA State High School Football Playoffs. Best of luck to all the teams. We got a bunch of teams that are playing a lot of bragging rights on the line. We got local versus local, but we also have teams taking on schools from Tallahassee. We got teams taking on schools from Pensacola. We got teams going down to Central Florida. It is going to be a blast tomorrow night, and we will be here for all of it. We're going to have 2 games on our station, Bishop Kenny, Baker County, round 1, 92.5 FM tomorrow night. Also Bowles and Taylor County, round 1 on 1010 AM. When the Bishop Kenny game goes final, we will have the Friday Night Lights postgame show for you of round 1 tomorrow night of the FHSAA State High School Football Playoffs. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening with us and really your entire week with us here on Hacker After Dark. And as we always tell you and cannot possibly tell you enough how much we absolutely appreciate it.
Pick the winners and be a winner.
Who's a winner?
Make the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park.